album review for the new Dish / album Triangle. I don't know a thing about Dish. I think they're some kind of boy group or band or something. They're very popular in Japan. I found this because it was #1 on the Oricon charts, but I've never heard any of their music before. I have no idea what I'm getting into here. The opener is called #1. From the first 15 seconds, I could instantly tell this was a shonen anime opening despite never having heard this song before. It's My Hero Academia, if you're wondering. This isn't a very unique shonen anime opening, but it still sounds pretty good. It's a pretty hype track that works well both in front of an MHA episode and opening an album. The percussion here is great, with an almost breakbeaty drum blasting into your ears for most of the song. The singer sounds really good as well. I think he has a great performance. It doesn't do anything too special, but it's solid enough and I enjoy listening to it. The second song, shi wa ku cha na雲を抱いて, I'm sorry I don't know Japanese, is a pretty standard pop rock song. It doesn't really do anything to stand out from every other song that sounds like this, and there's a lot of them, except for the completely and utterly unnecessary trap breakdown in the second verse. Stop, please. No more second verse trap breakdowns. It's by far my biggest pet peeve in music, and like every J-pop act is doing it, and I cannot handle it. Just like those trap breakdowns, this song is kinda uninspired and bland. Replace the singer and you could convince me this was made by any one of like 10,000 different bands. Track 3, Spaghetti, is better though. It's got some fun horns and a funky bass line, and the chorus kinda rules here with a really great melody. The drums are also back to being really good on this song. This is still a pretty standard J-pop tune, but just like the first one, it's executed well enough for me to not care too much. This more than makes up for its generic progressions by just being really happy and fun, and also having a really, really good chorus melody. Like, I'm serious, that melody is awesome. It's so catchy. The fourth song, Bon Bon Zai, keeps the good vibes going. You know it's gonna be fun when it just starts with a guy going, Bon Bon Zai Zai Celebration. Like, go off, dude. The post-chorus bit is the best part of the song, with the la la la's just being really fun and catchy. There's also an extended instrumental bit on this album that you don't see too much in these kind of mainstream J-pop songs, but it works really great here. This and the last song both have a super funky bass and an overall whimsical, carefree nature to them, which I love. This album just seems to be going for good vibes so far, and I am always down for that. I look at ALI, that band is just pure fun, and I love them. The fifth song is Matinee Soiree. It's generic. This song is super forgettable and boring. The song progression is the absolute bare baseline minimum when it comes to J-pop. The melody is slow and boring and droning, and just generally does absolutely nothing. The verses make it easy for you to forget the song is even on half the time. The guitar also just sounds like it's asleep. It's mildly pleasant on the occasional listen, but this is the kind of song where you could probably drive me insane by putting it on loop. Like, this is what they play to make people lose their shit at Guantanamo, just because of how bland it is. It's painfully mediocre in basically every way. The next song, Brand New Day, at least tries to break you out of the mediocrity-induced stupor by introducing some fun electronics right from the get-go. But it's debatable how well those actually work. And there's another bigger issue at hand here, which is that this song is also really mediocre. I will say, I really like that little synth breakdown they use after the chorus. I really wish that got used in like any other song, cause it's great. No other part of the song is. He doesn't even really sound like he's trying in the verses. He's just going, brand new day, brand new day. Like, he doesn't really sound into it at all. Again, it's totally fine to listen to occasionally. It's still painfully mediocre, though. It reaches for, and achieves, absolutely nothing. Replay is the seventh song here, and that's an apt title, as it feels like a replay of the last couple songs. It's still bland, it's still soulless, it's still uninspired, and it's still, quite frankly, utterly pointless. It sounds so similar to track 5, and that was like 2 songs ago. Why do we need this one? It's got the slow, drawn-out melody that doesn't really go anywhere or climax ever. The guitars and drums feel like they're actively trying to put me to sleep. It's just mediocre and boring. There's nothing interesting here at all. This is getting annoying after how promising the first like 4 songs on this album were. And it's not getting any better on track 8. That song is Go Asate, and I was ready to slam my head into a wall within the first 10 seconds of this. We start with the light string arrangement and some minimalist piano and vocals that immediately let you know you're in for the most boring time of your life. Every single mid-shitty ballad song made by a popular J-pop artist that's just like there to fill time on the album, they all start this way. None of them are good. I don't know why they do it. Like, just make a shorter album. It wouldn't kill you. I mean, yes, I am biased. I don't like ballad tracks. This is a known thing. But it's still not good. I still don't like it. It's super generic J-pop. There's no twists on the ballad formula. There's no interesting progression. It's just a shitty strings song. The melody, once again, goes absolutely nowhere. The instrumental just feels like filler that's supporting his not very good singing. It sucks. I'm getting sad now. The first 4 tracks on here were solid, but the middle stretch is just rough. We do, thankfully, pick up a little on the 9th song, Black Coffee. This is a rock song, which immediately gives it more edge and energy than the last 4 songs combined. It's not much energy, and it still kind of sounds like the musical equivalent of Beige, but there's a little more here now. The verses are pretty decent. I like the guitar and drums going on here, but the chorus simply falls flat. His singing is also flat, and the melody, while decent and absolutely a step up from some prior songs, isn't anything to write home about. It's a fine enough song, but it's not really good. It's a lot more re-listenable than prior tracks on this album, at least. Finally, we're fully back on track here with the 10th song, Fly. This is a really energetic J-rock song, even more so than the last one. His singing still isn't quite as good as it was on earlier tracks like number 1, but the melody is fun. The real star here is the guitars, though. This has almost an 80s rock vibe, the kind of thing my dad would hear on like a classic rock radio station. And that vibe is really sold by the edge on the guitars, which just matches up with that dad rock vibe that I get nostalgic for. I may absolutely hate my dad, but those classic rock stations were formative to me. The drums here are also really great, and there's some random DJ scratching bits that work way better than they should. The only real instrumental problem here is that they went for a funk bass line, and it sounds super out of place in what is otherwise a straightforward alt-rock song. Like many other songs on this record, it is kinda generic, but this time it's executed quite well, so I like it. Track 11 is another song that sounds similar to earlier songs, in this case a mashup between those slower, ballady tracks and track 3, Spaghetti. It's got the fun trumpets and the really catchy chorus that's straight out of the 3rd song, but the actual song structure is much more akin to those boring generic middle tracks. They do end up balancing each other out to the point where this song is actually decent and listenable, but it's still not good. The chorus of the song is good, but you just have to pretend the other parts don't exist. The last song here is Mashiro, and it's fine, I guess. The random record scratching is back, and again, it works way better than it should. It does feel really similar to the last song though, albeit without the horns. The chorus is perfectly decent again. It doesn't do anything too great, but it isn't bad either. The verses though are kinda lacking. It's a perfectly serviceable song, but there's not really any adjective that you can attach in front of the word song. Like, it's a song, I guess. It's just so generic. Any other band could have made this, and they all could have made it at basically the same level. There's nothing fancy, there's no flair to it, it's just a super bland pop song. So there's my first impressions of Dish. They are a very standard pop rock act. They've got some decent songs, they've got some bad songs, and they've got a whole lot that fill like the pit in the middle of just like really bland and pointless, and I don't know why these would appeal to you over the many other songs that sound basically the same way. This could have really been like a 5-song EP. I think there's 4 or 5 songs here that are definitely worth your time, but there's also a lot of stuff, especially in the middle of this album, that just drags on and does nothing. That entire run from tracks 5 to 8 just feels like pointless filler. 6, maybe 6.5 out of 10. It's inoffensive, but there's so many other things I could have been listening to, and there's a lot of bands that do this style, but execute it better, I guess. Like, sub, yell at me in the comments, all that. Thank you for watching. I genuinely, like, really appreciate it, because I look at my analytics, and, like, I lose 70% of my viewership in the first 30 seconds on, like, every video I make. So if you stick around to the end, I genuinely do really appreciate you. It makes these videos feel worth it. Like, thank you. Bye.